We have fallen into a very expensive habit with our bodies and our health. It costs us a lot of time, a lot of money, and it costs us quality of life. That bad habit is relying too much on doctors to acquire and maintain good health. Stick with me and I'll explain what I mean. Welcome and thanks for tuning in. My name is Marcus Bailey. My goal is to help as many people as possible take control of their health and wellness, as well as give you tips and information to help make your health journey more enjoyable and easier to stick to long term. So what is that statement about? How can relying on doctors be a bad thing? I'm going to give you 3 reasons why it does not make sense to rely on your doctor when it comes to gaining and maintaining good health. As always, I'll layer in some analogies to help simplify the point. Before I go through these, please know that this is not intended to take anything away from the brave and brilliant men and women in healthcare. You'll see what I mean by the time we're done. Reason number 1, you own it. Read the instructions. Let me start the first reason with 2 questions. Do you start using anything complicated and expensive without reading the manual first to make sure you're using it properly and don't break it? Is there anything that you own that's more complicated or more valuable than your body? If that sounds simple, it is. The body you have, the one you are responsible for, the one you can't replace, deserves an investment from you in the form of understanding how to operate it on a day-to-day basis. There is a series of books that really change the way we approach difficult tasks or things like computer software, for example. The books for dummies. I love these books because they gave me a step-by-step, easy to understand overview of how to get the outcomes I needed for my level of use. I read these books because my job or some other means of making a living were enhanced by studying a little bit on what that button does, what that menu means, and how to troubleshoot common errors. Same thing for your body. You don't need a prescription or a doctor's appointment to read about the basics on the various systems of your body and what to do to avoid errors. Unfortunately, many of us have read more books on how to get the most out of Microsoft Office than we have on how to get the most out of our own bodies. Reason number 2, paying a mechanic to pump your gas is ridiculous. If you own a car, there are quite a few things that you do yourself to make sure that it's running smooth, looking good, and keeping you and your passengers safe. There are also some things that you would definitely leave to a trained mechanic or expert, and in a lot of cases, the dealership themselves. So for example, a blown engine, a shot transmission, and definitely major collision repair would be things that you would not tackle yourself. You know it's going to be costly, probably inconvenient, but absolutely necessary. You have to rely on the expert in those cases. But car washes, wiper blades, oil changes, brake pads, tune-ups, fuse replacements, you could either do yourself or have done practically on the go. As simple as they seem, if you neglect these things, your car will not last you nearly as long as you'd hope. After all, you wouldn't consult a mechanic every time you needed fuel, would you? Beyond being able to physically pump your own gas, it stands to reason that protecting your asset, your investment, your vehicle, means knowing how to keep it running, and more specifically, performing at the level you need and expect. Again, it's unfortunate that some of us refuse to put cheap gas in our cars, but don't have those same standards when it comes to what we put in our bodies. Reason number 3, if you need to be fixed, you're already broken. Once the school semester is over and you receive a grade of F, it's probably too late at that point to schedule a time in the professor's office, ask about some concepts you don't understand, or start studying the chapters in the book that the final exam you've already taken and failed covered. What does that have to do with health and doctors? Well, the analogy here is that if the only time we become concerned or interested with our health is after we are chronically ill, then by that time it's too late to go back and prevent it. We can definitely work with a doctor at that point to slow or reverse the condition and implement new habits to prevent it from getting worse. But just like that student in class, we would be much better off taking matters into our own hands proactively to prevent a bad outcome instead of letting failure happen, then going to the professor to help fix the problem. It's easier to stop something from happening in the first place than to repair the damage after it has happened. And in the case of health, you don't get to retake the class. Plus, the answer lives in the words of their job description. Doctors apply the principles and procedures of medicine to diagnose, care for, and treat patients with illness, disease, and injury. If you take responsibility and action for yourself, and by yourself, then you won't need to rely on your doctor for general good health and wellness. They become someone who can help validate your hard work with affirmative checkups. You see, the phrase, "don't rely on your doctor," isn't about avoiding or dismissing healthcare or health professionals. It means we as individuals should stop avoiding our own personal ownership of our bodies. We should stop dismissing our everyday habits as being irrelevant, because every day we do have a choice to take one step closer to either just needing a checkup or needing a hospital check-in. My hope for all of us is that we truly become more careful and concerned about the one body and collection of systems and organs we have than we are about the material items that we can buy and replace. Since we spend more time in and with our bodies than any other item, let's do ourselves a favor and read the instructions. Take it upon ourselves to be responsible for what goes in, be diligent about its maintenance and ability to perform as it was designed to, and invest time in prevention so we can reduce or eliminate the need for treatment or repair. Life happens, so we need the talent and care of healthcare professionals for urgent matters, acute illness, rare conditions, and so on. But much of the power to be well, be strong, and be healthy comes from our meals, movement, and mindset. Drop a comment below and please consider subscribing to this channel. Thanks for watching.